What up, pilots? Let's talk about the manual engine control and trimming in a Corsair. I am in a F4U-1A, the United States Marine Corps version of the F4U-1A Corsair. So, engine on. Radiators, this is a radial engine or an air-cooled engine, so we're going to set our radiators to 20. If our engine temperature gets a little hot from there, we'll just turn it down. Magneto 1+2, no mixture control. Propeller pitch, we'll just set it to 90. Alright, throttle up about halfway. Gain a little bit of speed, correct the torque with our rudder, and then throttle all the way up. Takeoff flaps out. Gear up, flaps up. Now let's just climb to altitude. Let's trim for climbing here. So Corsairs do have full trim in match, so you're not going to want to save your trim at cruising speed. There's really no point. Plus Corsairs are they're pretty stable anyway, so just a little bit of rudder trim to the right is all we need, really. And then we'll pitch up a little bit for climbing. A good climbing speed for most piston engine aircraft is going to be about 200 knots indicated, or at about 210, 220 true airspeed. So we're at 200 indicated. You don't want to climb too steep, because if you're side climbing trying to get to altitude, you always want to check your 6 every 10 seconds. Make sure you're not getting jumped by something, and if you do get jumped by something, you do have a decent amount of speed to be able to defend yourself with. Cool thing about Corsairs is we get 3 Supercharger gears. So in my manual engine control War Thunder video, I generally talk about the settings on each aircraft. And with Supercharger gears, you want to run each gear in 8,000 foot increments or 2,500 meter increments, depending on what setting you're using, whether you use feet or meters for altitude. So I use feet, so it's going to be 8,000 feet for me. So I'm not even above 8,000, so I'm going to go with Supercharger gear 1 first. We'll see when we start to lose power. We're at 8,000 feet now. We're going to have to switch to Supercharger Gear 2 soon. One thing that I wish they would model in this game in War Thunder is the whistling of the radiator intakes on the wing roots of the Corsairs. The Japanese used to call the Corsair whistling death, because when they dove on you, they would just whistle, high-pitched whistling noise, and I wish they would add that. But you know, it's War Thunder, so you can't always get what you want. Small details like that would be awesome. Alright, we're starting to lose a little power, so let's switch to Gear 2. So each engine is different, but we had to switch at about 9,500 feet. Oh yeah, no turbo in this thing either, so. So the next time we're going to have to switch to our Supercharger Gear 3 is probably going to be at around 15 to 16,000 feet. Possibly 17,000 feet, depending on when the engine starts to lose power, because each engine is different, right? So not every engine is going to be 8,000 feet or 2,500 meters. You know, some engines can run a little higher before you can switch the Supercharger gear, so you just kind of have to figure out when you start to lose power at certain altitudes with certain aircraft. See, we're only going 200 knots indicated, but since we're at a higher altitude where there's less oxygen, less drag, we're actually going, our true airspeed's actually 240. When we were basically taking off and when we just took off and we were going 200 knots indicated, we were actually going like 210. But since we're at a higher altitude, our true airspeed's a little higher, less drag up here. Ooh, that gained a little bit of extra oomph. 100%. Prop pitch 100%, gained a little extra. You could hear it. Basically, pay attention to the revving of your engine. So if I turn down my engine, I lost the revs a little, right? If I turn my propeller pitch back up, it starts to rev a little more. So when you're using propeller pitch and trying to gauge how much power you're gaining, pay attention to the revs. "16,000 feet. We're probably gonna have to switch to Gear 3 soon. coming up on 18,000 feet. I haven't noticed a difference in our revs, so we haven't lost power yet.
Roger that.
20,000 feet. I kind of heard it sputtering a little bit there. Supercharger gear 3. So yeah, that's a Corsair. So let me, I don't really see no reason to climb up to 20,000 feet in an actual sim match, but let's gain our speed here. Set my trim to 0. Oh yeah, our cockpit is shaking. Alright. So since we're going so fast, you're gonna want to nose down your trim. We're gonna nose down our trim, and we haven't been touching we haven't been touching rudder trim or aileron trim. So Corsairs are pretty stable in the roll and the rudder and the yaw. So it's mostly gonna be your nose, your pitch trim that you're gonna want to mess with in Corsairs. Oh, we're overheating, so our engine temperature is going up, so that would be radiator. So let's turn our radiator up a little bit here. That's probably something to do with the propeller pitch too, so let's turn that down a bit. Yep, there it goes. Now our temperature is going down. So yeah, there you go. There's Corsairs for you.